In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mothers, sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Unequaled refuge, ornament of the world, your fame pervades the 3,000 worlds. You are the victor, Vajradhara, without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father, Jigten Sungun. Continually I think of no one but you. Compassionate One, grant your blessings. Dispel the darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I may realize the unliberated nature of mind. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. must turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings.
This group was just okay. Part one. Temban dala ngonza mi jong ji ten wang ju peni jarbo rene savore jarbo se son dong jen yurde kando male serwe zardo ngoro nam yin ji ten kamzo do ba jenan Kawa jendo demba jiban zelonom samso sambo kana nyanga mandan roe nyanje bogo son yerme chenjo roe nyame lama jode dinde.
Most amazing wonder of these teachings, Lotus King, mighty Lord of this world. As for your family, you were born a prince of Zahor. In Uddiyana, you cut through all misconceptions, and in Sitawana, you gained the two forms of attainment. Throughout this world, you tamed malevolent forces, and in this snowy land, you spread the teachings. In the southwest borderlands, now you subjugate the Rakshasas, not passing into nirvana, but remaining as being's only friend. Supreme Haruka, in whom the three kayas are inseparable, Supreme Guru without equal, I remember you now.
Sum sonje tam je jingo re dong jingur jam so chanda ga den sum me tu je dan yin kam sum je je jar bo shab je bem chma me balango ra de go sum gu ba jem bo go ne cha an zar yin jap sun che wo je wa ne tsurup jin chung wa tam je do tu tse wa chen bo go ne ji su sum ju xin je la banan za do so kong be shar song da wi men ngom ka sum zum ben dong ra chen chen pe se wo san ro sar wen ro kun me ge de se tuk jin da ma gu ne ju ren ji den sam jin kong cha be to wong pe ma gar po te ren da lo yin zo ro jong ur jen so lang pe me dong po ze jar we nam ro rong ju lun ji Senzo pe ye yo den som bar we pe man jung ne da lo ben zo yong xin ye dong ge ye jin se bin chen se jin go ra gong xin zhuo gen se mo men pa zhen zhe lo zhuo gen de yan de ge tong ye xie zhe ban me gong chun yin ka lan ze ba gang jam bar xian ne gen ne ge we zo gen jiu yin zhuo pe ma ge pon zhen be xer de song zer tong ge cha Nyinge mensir lo zhung jiao zorwe, yang jian nga ge bar mong da ye zhong. Kong zhe to ga ren qian nying bong go, yo den gu yung ka we ji zir. Nying bu tang zi be be nan jir wa, chen me we zir xiab ji da ye zhong. Xi ya gun zhen zhuo la ji ci de, chen me we zir yang zhuo tu ten zu, wu sha lang qian nam ge nan jir. Jing me ling be xiab ji da ye zhong, che dar jia we se po xi wa la, nong dar che be wang ju xia re, song pang qiu dong a rong zhong wu, jing me qu ji yong. Da yi zhong, ri tong jian bre xuan de xia la le, gong be long le bo be der ji zhong, long do qiong zi jiang song a zai. Me tam jam yong nam jia la ku jian sa, yo den sang ji gun da nyam na yang, ga jin sang ji gun le ta bing gong, za we la ma ta la sur van. Ta song zhe we lo na chu la jiu. Okay, thank you so much. Today is special day. Of course, every day is special day, but today is more than special day. And thank you for spending time with us. This morning we have already auspicious puja with our baby Buddha, and without his birth, we would not have this gathering. So it's important to remember his birth, and his birth is quite special. And soon as he was born, and he took 7 steps, and if you don't know why he's pointing finger on a space, saying, I'm the supreme among humans. So that's why usually people do this. Maybe I don't know if sometimes people do this, but he's doing this. So if you don't know that part, and this month is not only his birth, but also, unfortunately, his death is also counted parinirvana as this month. But of course, that tells us something. Every birth and follows death. So that's often we talk about is showing that impermanent can occur to anyone. It's not only us, but such great beings and realizer masters and so forth. And then, most importantly, this month is also the when Buddha attained enlightenment. So this is special month. That's why it's so special month. And then, particularly this 15th day of lunar calendar is, of course, most powerful day. So that's why we have a wonderful puja this morning, and we did some sadhana for Shakyamuni, and also we did prayers that composed by Lord Nigtan Sumgon. So we did that, and then of course everyone participated that, and we enjoyed that much auspicious puja. And I think we can talk a little bit about that because he was born and he attained enlightenment, and then most important part is his teachings. And his teachings are not only taught in for particular group or particular genre or particular region, but his teachings we often call 84,000. So if we don't know, sometimes we need to remind us that we can produce 84,000 types of emotions that sometimes we even maybe don't know, but that we are capable of doing that. And his teachings are often start with 4 Noble Truths. And that's most of the time I start with 4 Noble Truths. That's important. Sometimes we don't really pay attention even very first Noble Truth, that is suffering. Here it's not, Buddhists don't want to show sort of negative a message, but it's an important part of that. Sometimes we forget. In yesterday or day before yesterday, when we analyze or we investigate that, we are thinking about, or this Nyingtik tradition, we have these 7 mind trainings. That one training was, we need to think about what is temporary enjoyment or happiness and what is sort of everlasting happiness. So we need to choose that. Most of the time we choose temporary happiness. So that's why we fall into troubles, because Buddha said that we need to recognize suffering. People often think why Buddha need to say we are already suffer, and the suffering that don't need to remind us we know what the suffering is. But usually we don't know what suffering means, so that all the temporary enjoyments are, we think that is something we need to pursue, and we end up then big troubles, or we lose this everlasting happiness. That is why we are very important to recognize or remind us that samsara is suffering, and we want to overcome this suffering. And then, in order to do that, then we need to know the cause of suffering. Comes to cause of suffering, we saw yesterday the Kunda Sambo's prayer. In this particular tradition, it's not something coming from outside, it's just we mistakenly perceive or grasp it, things that never exist. Things that what we think I or my friends or my country and so forth, these are fictional things that we imputed, and now we are here with all sort of things, and then through this ignorance, mainly three ignorance, then we have desire, anger, jealous, hatred, and so forth. These first 5 poisons, and then either we call 6 poisons, and then 84,000 emotions what we could have. However, the fourth noble truth is nirvana or peace. That is we can attain. In order to do that, we need to practice the path. So path includes study, contemplation, and meditation, and so forth. And what we can do is only we can do study his teaching and follow meditation accordingly, and then we can act accordingly whatever prescribed. So in that way, then we hopefully overcome this suffering. That's why in everywhere at first we need to say study, contemplation, and meditation. These three are called the three wisdoms we can gain. Usually these study, contemplation, meditation are for individuals or self. And then in Tibetan we have in Qi Zu Zong Zong, teaching, sort of investigating or analyzing or debating, and then Zumba, decomposing or writing the text. That's for others. And then we also have these other, for the both, Qi Zun Song Song is one is erudite or learned, and is also moral ethics are good, and and then also have a good sort of what do they call it, nature or personal behavior is good. So these are three. So this is mainly 9 things that sometimes, of course, we need to say. So that's why I don't think that only meditation is count for doing something, but these all are count as a practice. And when we practice or learn, then of course we need to learn many things because in order to choose what I like and what kind of practice I want, then better to learn more broader. And there is mainly Buddha Shakyamuni taught this we call the training the will of the Dharma. That's three training the will of Dharmas. The first is more basic foundational teaching, but still we need to understand there is no self and there is no ego, and that there is not ego, there is no personhood that what we think who we are, because that is the actual cause of the suffering, ignorance. And on top of that, his teachings are used through many antidotes. We have many antidotes that could prevent or stop or discard disturbing emotions that what we have. And then the second training, the will of Dharma, is much more we call Tsenyi Meba, the non-characteristic, or the non-Ngo Meba, the non-essence, which means all dharmas, what we see, what we hear, what we think are essenceless, and there's no such thing. So we need to gain confidence in that. And through that, from 6 paramitas, or through 6 paramitas, we can gain our realization. And that's to have, we know, the generosity and discipline and moral ethics and so forth. Those are we still can do sometimes effortfully and sometimes effortlessly. And then we have the final, the training will of Dharma is mainly talk about Buddha nature, what we have and what we can do, and how it's sort of recognized. And then tantric practice comes, also have much more method, and comes to Dzogchen. Now what we are trying to understand Dzogchen philosophy and Dzogchen practice, that sort of final Buddhist teaching that comes since at least in the Tibet 8th century to now, without broken the lineage line. And we have, fortunately, we have this, sometimes we Tibetans have many lineages, so somehow, of course, there's 84,000 people choose differently, and sometimes it's too late to change. What do you choose? So somehow we are fortunate that we choose in this precious teaching, so that's why we are here, and especially then our lineage, we have particular texts that really condensed form of teaching, but also is manageable to taste, to learn in a very short amount of time, and to practice and so forth. And that's why we are trying to understand these texts. So now you know that all Buddhist teaching, the basis or foundational understanding it should be at least we need to see things are differently. And most of the time, most Kajupas, yogis and so forth, they feel that this Milarepa, you can see Milarepa as can walk through the walls and so forth, and then others see these mountains are transparent and also unimpeded and so forth. So it's at least in order to practice these, we need to believe in that these phenomena or appearances are not as solid as what we think. And then yesterday we already discussed a lot, but mainly whatever out there is mainly coming from inside, or the phenomena are mind only or mind only. Mind itself manifests or produce these appearances, and that's why if we chase outwardly, then there will be endless phenomena that we will not successfully can apprehend or comprehend. But then this particular tradition, we need to look inwardly, and also the mind itself is the sort of creator, and that's why we need to look at the mind. First, it's easy to say look at the mind, but what is mind is very important. So that's why I say these 11 steps to take. That very first one is we need to at least identify our mind, what our mind is, and then how much damage is done by our mind, and then if you think it in that way, or how faulty it is, or mind itself is it's naturally kind of dualistic concept that mind or thought is similar. And then comes to we know the mind is not what we think, and then the famous analysis of thinking. If there is a mind, where this mind coming from, and where does this mind go, and then where this mind abides. So that doesn't necessarily mean there is a mind. So in order to understand there is no mind, we needed to analyze through these three. So this practice, we need to gain confidence that there is no mind. And a third karma barang yundur, just Mahamudra aspiration prayer. Yor la tebi yurme samson tong, sam la tebi seming o tong, ni la tebi inju usrashi rongsa semjine lo to. So when we look outwardly, there's no objects but mind. And if we look inwardly, there's no mind but mind itself is empty. And if we look at both, then both are empty or disappear. And so we need to know that. And then people, of course, often ask if there's no mind, well, what is looking to what, and so forth. And what can see what, and so forth. These are important questions. But often we in sutras already say the mind, the mind is not mind, or mind doesn't have mind, but mind's nature is luminous. So that is coming from Mother Sutra, and which which shows that our luminous or light that yesterday we already discussed a little bit about what does that mean. It has kind of cognitive nature and also awareness nature that is called cognize. And if then we look at our own mind, now we know there's no mind. That's period. And then at the same time, we don't need to ask others to say what I saw and what I know and what I do think. And that there is a cognitive, you drop something on the floor. Yeah. And that's, we don't need to ask others to say what I see. So we don't have mind, but we have this ability to see things. So that's why it's called empty. Yesterday we discussed this. Empty means there's no mind, but mind's nature is luminous, means there is light or awareness in that part. And when we, because mind and objects means there is a dualistic entity, and also that is perceive something means there is a subject object. This concept is what we call mind. So the mind is slowly, we need to understand there is no mind. And that's why in the Dzogchen teachings there is a separation of mind and Rigpa, or separation of the alaya. If you if everyone probably know alaya. Alaya means the eight consciousness that when we awake and we are aware, then we use, most of the time we use six consciousness, that if we hear something, we taste something, we see something, and we kind of feel something, and we can think something. So those are awakened. When we go to deep sleep, we don't really remember much, but still the stream of consciousness that still underneath the surface is keep going. That's called alaya. Alaya means there's not much activities, but still have consciousness that keep going. So that is close to the Dharmakaya, and Kunshi and Chokuyewa, the Kunshi, Alaya Vijnana, and the Dharmakaya, we also need to separate that. So we yesterday talked a little bit about that, why we need to separate that, because usually sometimes give example like if you wanted to cook rice, you need to clean or pure, remove all the dirt and the pebbles or all kind of anything that's are not edible things you need to remove. Similarly, in order to practice Dzogchen Chukchu, we need to reveal that naked Rigpa is not covered by something and not diluted or obscured by any other dharma. That's why we need to do that. And yesterday we already a little bit discussed these three words that's striking the vital points. And you can see the very first point is introducing the pure Rigpa itself. So that means we are not introducing concept, we are introducing a pure Rigpa. And that is Dharmakaya. So our mind nature is already a Dharmakaya, and sometimes even we can think about the Ngo Rangi Tukje, then the essence is Dharmakaya, nature is Sambhogakaya, and then the either we call pervasive or not so sometimes, various forms that is called Tukje, the compassion, which is a Nirmanakaya. So our mind nature is already in three kayas, and not only three kayas, when we think about three wisdoms that abides in our nature. And these are important because then we are not trying to accumulate something. We are not building in our mind, and we are not fabricate anything. So we already have what we have, and that is the recognition of that is important. That's why we first have to have an introduction of that. The introducing Rigpa and the recognizing Rigpa is very, very important. That's the first word or first phrase. And then secondly, once we recognize that, our mind nature is the Dharmakaya. And then we also need to know, we also need to gain confidence that whatever appears to us is this dynamic energy of Dharmakaya. It's nothing that we can discard or need to remove. It's just appear. In a dream, we don't need to chase away image of elements or anything, but just our mind is appearing in that way. And once we have that confidence, then anything appears is liberate itself. Is the third phrase means Deng Tok to Java. So your confidence in these, I can establishing that everything's liberated, it's on place. Maybe we can read together. This is the main profound how is things liberated, and then we can meditate a little bit, and then we see what we can do in the rest of the Dada ge yarda no ye jino no je ngo bodam je ge no yon dan je Sunzinda bazardon laye gando jaron dorje lamala zorwande urjen be manjune la zorwande Dadana ve yordo trabam ye nyandame nyandambe janam Cha tong sam no jai ngong la jo Cha tong jen ga me ba jar ve song Cha tong jar ve song la zo wan de Ur jen be ma jung ne la zo wan de Dadai ye je yordun jua ye nyomu tong e toba je sharayang Mo se je jo lo ye jo me sho Jo aran san jabi jo goro jo re baran jo je la mala zo wande Or be ma jo ne la zo wande Chedar son we yur non dao ba dan nan daran zun be sun ni zhuwa tang Par de sa rang o shi ba ru te son de ye nam je tu je Dan de rang ju zhuwa xin ji lo Dan de rang ju zhuwa xin ji lo
Do this toward all you see, outside, inside, environment and beings, all things, whilst seeing them without grasping remain. This freedom from the trap of duality, subject-object clinging, is the very form of the deity, luminous and empty. To this Lama, the very self-liberation of desire and attachment, we pray. To lotus-born Guru of Organ, we pray. Do this toward all that you hear, all sounds grasped as sweet or harsh, whilst hearing them empty without afterthought remain. This empty sound, with no beginning and no end, is the speech of the victorious ones. To this empty sound, the speech of all the Buddhas, we pray. To the lotus-born Guru of Organ, we pray. Do this toward all that stirs in the mind. Whatever thoughts and emotions of the five poisons arise, don't invite them, don't chase after them, don't let mind fabricate or contrive. Simply allowing them to settle in the face of their own arising is liberation into the Dharmakaya. To this Lama, Rigpa's self-liberation we pray. To the lotus-born Guru of Organ we pray. So outwardly purify appearances of their allure. Inwardly free the mind from grasping. And in between, by the self-recognition of clear light, may the compassion of all the Sugatas of past, present, and future inspire and bless beings like us with self-liberation.
So we see the last lines that we need to understand outwardly all phenomena are liberated itself. Inwardly, all the thoughts are also liberated itself. And between, if you think there's a between, you don't need to think that. If that is, you need to recognize your mind nature. And there's, of course, any effort is unnecessary in a year. You can see, keep saying, not grasping and not kind of fabricating or anything. So these few days, we already discussed that we need to look at our mind inwardly, and at the same time, maybe it's good to look at our mind through turn our eyes inwardly to look at our back of our skull or head, I think I'm keep thinking this Tara's gazing is look like inwardly gazing. If you can gaze like Tara, seems okay. If not, then maybe you are thinking something, planning, cooking dinner, going to shopping or something. So anyway, yeah. Start. And the most important part is either beginning or end or middle. You should have some sort of remind ourselves we need to two mainly components that have to have as devotion and compassion. These should rise naturally. Usually it's a tōnyi tōna nyingjē ngāngkjē. So when you realize emptiness, compassion will rise naturally. At the same, these are every practice level of whether we That's and if I think it's in the beginning we maybe need to train, remind ourselves to these components are important, because most of us would have a teacher. If you don't have teacher, but maybe even you don't have teacher, maybe some higher beings or Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and whatever you think, have to have someone you trust can bring in to generate devotion, and then we have no shortage of sentient beings who are suffer in this world, so we can generate that. As these two are related, because if we think about sentient beings suffering, then compared to ourselves, we are quite fortunate. We are born in this period of time. We maybe mentally we are anxious and stressed and so forth, but we still, most of us, enough food and clothes and time to sit down, and these are an important part as compared to others, is really fortunate. And then we know more Buddha teaching, and that is the cause of suffering and so forth, ignorant that maybe many beings don't have chance to, or don't have ability to think about or reflect on. And if we think that is coming from our teachers, so it's then that goes to the Buddha's teaching and also Bodhisattvas and so forth. So it's these two are connected. When you generate devotion, it automatically helps to generate compassion. If you generate compassion, it automatically generates devotion. So these two will help us not only realizing emptiness or mind nature, but that is the core practice of whole entire Buddhist teaching. So that's what I want to say. Those are important, and that's why in the beginning of the teaching and at the end of teaching, or between, we chant together these phrases or lines that help us to remind us that what we need to do. And sometimes our mind is caught in a particular subject, and we kind of forget the big picture of the practice. That's important. And then now we still have one more page to go that we can do that. But mainly understanding, we need to see the empty nature of phenomena, the illusory nature of phenomena, and the dreamlike nature of phenomena. In Vajrachitika, or the Diamond Sutra, is giving this Jumipeji, the analysis or example of the 8 examples of illusion. It's like mirage, it's like lightning, thunder, just a moment, and then also we can see mirage and so forth. You can look at that Jumipeji, the 8 examples of the illusory. At least until these things are disappear, we need to know these are our dream. This dream is, if we don't know this as a dream, then it's quite intense and sometimes even more than become reality. So it could be hurtful. And today we are on page 15. Through this introduction, empty sound, empty smell, empty taste, empty sensation are realized. So this Guru Rinpoche's 7 text prayer is very clear that how we look at it and how if disengage is as important as involving some looking at your mind. So once if we go to a cave, if we make a noise, there will be echo. If we don't make a noise, maybe there is no echo. So echo is not coming from the rocks, but echo is produced by us. Similarly, these all phenomena that appear is coming from us mainly, but we still don't know yet that part. So these empty means here the sound what we hear is not like what we hear, and so forth. And then this in our prayer text, mainly we have 3 things: form, sound, and mind. Yeah, because when we think about these 3, then body, speech, and mind. The form is dharma. No, form is nirmanakaya. We need to see nirmanakaya. Sound is sambhogakaya, and mind is dharmakaya. That's why this set as 3. But here we have more than that, because it's talking about the 5 objects that what we are talking about. And appearances and the minds are non-dual. It's similar, but its phrase is more like non-dual appearances and mind. So that's a subject. It's appearances, yeah, maybe appearances and mind are non-dual, because there is no appearance. Even the basic understanding of that there is no appearance, nothing but mind, and the mind itself is appearing. We think about in a dream, the appearances are just mind appearing. There is no appearance in a dream. Matter and knowledge are non-dual. Usually this matter and knowledge, tab and shirap, we often use. Tab is the appearances and shirap is emptiness, so these 2 are also non-dual. Pleasure and pain are non-dual. And if we are familiar with the Chuyin-zu, then whether we ever read, every line is almost saying there's no such things, or such things appears, but there is no real dualistic things. Through this introduction to the Greek bliss of non-dual union, everything that appears and is experienced become a helper on a path. And now we can see that the three words or three phrases that introduce, we saw that mind introduced as a Dharmakaya, or we need to recognize our mind as a Dharmakaya. Then we also need to establish or understand everything rise from that is also not other than Dharmakaya. So that is the sort of second phrase, the striking at the vital point. And usually now maybe we can handle this, yeah. If saying usually stones can break stone, water can wash water, fire can burn sort of fire. Other than that, it's very difficult. So usually the antidote of anger is mainly anger. It's not saying you should produce more anger on top of the anger rage. It's not saying that. The anger itself is, it's similarly here, the very last line, almost not the last line, but this saying that whatever thoughts and emotion of five poisons arise, do not invite them, do not chase after them, do not let mind fabricate it or contrive. So then the anger liberated on self, because if you don't put firewood would be die. If you put more woods, then fire become more stronger. And similarly here, whatever rises, everything that appears and experience becomes a helper on a path. So we sometimes need to take that attitude that whoever you meet, maybe that's Guru Rinpoche, and whatever you eat, maybe that's just nectar from Guru Rinpoche. And there is Dunjung Rinpoche's saying, Sotong Drojong Gawa, Benjung Puju, Kontu Sonjo Jiba, Dzogchen Nanjo. So he's saying that whoever I met, I'm happy because I am the lineage of Guru Pema Sambhava. Wherever I go, I'm happy because I'm the yogi of great perfection. So if you are really uncomfortable in a crowd or with people, maybe still need to think about my problem and your problem. That's yeah. And Patrul Rinpoche often says that all the faults are mine, all the qualities, good qualities yours. So it's mainly, most of the time, if problem arises, the mainly problem would be ours, but sometimes people don't want to admit that part yet. That's why we have a Supreme Court to even the small local courts to resolve that part. And that's what it's saying. It's sometimes if you don't have these teachings, it's a little bit difficult to say, yeah, destruction is my part of my good practice. Then people think, well, what does that mean? And people want to retreat and silent retreat and avoid everything, and those you can see how sometimes people make rules that are very interestingly, and sometimes they come up as more angrier than ever can. So whenever rise in the nature of reality, whatever rises is the nature of reality. Do you remember these three vital structures that we need to gain confidence that everything is part of the Dharmakaya, as Dharmakaya's play. So if we don't recognize that, then of course we think that's something else we need to chase away, and something else that we need to adopt, and these kind of discrimination and biased thinking will arise naturally. An understanding of inseparability of samsara and nirvana dawns. So once we can tolerate that part, then samsara and nirvana can be the same. If not, then samsara is a very bad place. So we know this. The lower vehicle or the basic vehicles, Buddhists teach that these basic things, and say samsara is a very bad place, and it's like a poisonous snake's pit. And even many arhats commit suicide because of the samsara is terrible place. I don't want to live too long. And we have those teachings, but there is other teachings that also teach what we have in here. That's as I was saying, maybe we are lucky enough to choose this route or this particular teaching. Within the luminous clarity of non-referential self-awareness, there is self-luminous brilliance. And that we need to recognize. And then we don't need to add or subtract anything. Since the second guessing and the doubt cease within their own place, there is self-radiance. And once we have this confidence, we have view or meditation that can liberate the things that soonest appear. Then liberate doesn't mean you need to change. Once take transformation, that's not liberation. Liberate in here, say when when we, it's the first, the second, or the third one, the mind. Do these toward all that stirs in the mind. Whatever thought, the emotion of the five poisons arise, do not invite, do not chase after, do not let mind fabricate and contrive. So that's is the key point. The liberation doesn't need to change. And also, the very first one, do this toward all you see. Outside, inside, environment and beings, all things. Whilst seeing them without grasping remain. This freedom of the traps of duality, subject-object clinging, is the very form of deity. So once you rest, if you are not engaging and fabricating, that is called deity form. It's not need to transform every seeing is in a deity form. But there is practice of that, but that's not what we are talking about. We need to gain confidence in what appear is already deity. We don't need to change. And we change, then we are making sort of our preference here. People buy flowers that color differently. That's some like white, maybe some are red. And then if come to East and West cultures, then East would say the white flowers are funeral things and black flowers are something, and then red are anger and jealousy, and yellow are, I don't know, it's a kind of strange envy thing, maybe. So we can make that. So that's the preference is coming. So we cannot let them, the nature, be in their own nature. Anyway, send the second guessing. What second guessing? These are totally wrong. I thought what second guessing? Oh, that's first. Yi Ni means in a Tibetan means that there's two mind. Two mind means is a doubt. It's not second guessing. There's usually in the Tibet we call Yi Tse Ni. The mind has two points, and it means whether I want like tea or I want water. I cannot make a good decision because which one is good for me. I have a doubt to choose which one. So here means really just another doubt. It's doubt is within their own place. So once we have that, do you remember whether these appearances are deity or not, or whether I understand or not, or this doubt is the most obstacle in our practice. And once we have this understanding of these and this meditation, then the forms and the sound and thoughts are liberated its own place. Then liberated, we call liberated because it doesn't have any function or any whether good impact or bad impact. So that's, and also it doesn't give dualistic things. And that's why when we have this, gain confidence in this view, then all the doubts are cease or disappear. At the times, meditated holding your breath together with this isolated focus of your eyes. What is going on here? Nilu ki shitala Zara Simdi Lo Tong Chai Chin Chawa Lo Zo Song Tok Bi Jing Xin Li De Me Wen Mo Ni Zu Lu Ba something. Oh, sorry, I read next line, I think, here. Since the expression of the mind is free from concept within the root ground of how things are, it's extremely subtle. Since there is no bondage or corruption by conceptual fabrication and thoughts, the essence itself is free. So now you can see once we just engage and recognize the nature, then what appearances are just liberated itself. It's called liberated, but it's not taking transformation. It's transforming, is changing. Then there is no changes going on, and that is our here maybe. Meanwhile, I talk a lot, and sometimes it's better I need to listen. Usually people say most people have one mouth and two ears, means we need to listen twice more than talk. Okay, questions? Or our room may have, here may have questions. Okay, ready?
Yeah, so one from Zoom. In the tractor practice, as beginners, we do little short moments of resting, then thoughts arise. In the past, you mentioned about looking at the mind's. Sorry, it just moved. In the past, you mentioned about looking at the mind's nature, and then when concepts arise, doing a practice that has an object, like Guru Yoga or chanting, then resting in the mind's nature again and again, going back and forth. What conceptual practice have you found most helpful for developing stability and abiding in the mind's nature when doing this sort of oscillation between conceptual and non-conceptual, effort and effortless?
Yes, that's why I sort of trying to mention that the devotion and compassion is very important in this practice, both Mahamudra and Dzogchen. Especially when emphasize Mahamudra, it's the actual realization is only arise through devotion. And devotion means that's why in a Kagyu and Nyingma tradition, in a preliminary practice, the Guru Yoga is emphasized a lot. And that is important. You can see Jigten Sumgong's very first five-fold Mahamudra, Lama Kuyi Konruna, Moguji Nima Mashana, Chinlab Chuju Membe Bisem Mugundala Netenzo. So Lama as a snow mountain, and devotion as a sun need to warm to melt the snow to these blessings, streams of blessings need to bring down mainly through devotion. Otherwise, there's no connection. And that can be done, what I've was mentioned that any maybe, of course, these meditation is just repetition until if you can extend hour or two, or then slowly maybe day and night, then 24 hours. But at least beginners would have very short moment of recognition and then rise. Soon as that stage is passed, then we are almost as just ordinary beings do, and we can see things and we feel things and we maybe make a lot of plans and think about good old days, memories, chase that, and then and also the fabricated many things in a moment by moment. Look at the flowers, or there's colors, and why these colors coming from, and so forth. We can thinking of that. I was looking at the walls. Finally, I noticed there's so many leaves, colors, and size, and so forth. So that kind of will arise, and then looking back at our mind nature, and if soon as that's why the mindfulness is very important, and not only to bring back to the actual meditation, but also remind us to what is the importance of the practice, not only looking at the mind. Yesterday we discussed that person who don't have any emotion means then we have very nice term for that, and and we don't want to be that category in that category.
Another question from Zoom.
Yes.
How to get used to appearances as mind?
That is more, and we need to build upon Buddhist teachings and logics, rather than maybe we don't see flower as our mind. It's really difficult to see it. But logically, even in a dream, there's no objects, but we still think there is no objects. So that is almost genetically programmed us, and so that's really difficult to see directly. But actual practice, we don't need to see objects as mind. That's the concept. And that's the fabrication, yeah. Once we do that, then we don't see, or it's not liberate itself, because now we have, first of all, we project something, and then we are kind of logical analysis going on, concept, so that then that is not actual practice. It's just to remember, introduce mind, objects of the mind, but the mind itself is also not there. It's almost pointless, but we need to go step by step to get there.
Are we also genetically programmed to develop an I or self?
And what?
They're asking if, like, genetically, through our genes and our DNA, are we programmed to develop the concept of the self, or me, or I?
But we need to remind us there's no genetic things, yeah? I use genetic because for fun, but we also need to remind us there's no genetic things. Yeah. Okay.
There's no questions on Zoom, so I want to go back to the question that I asked yesterday because I've been thinking about it, and it still doesn't make sense to me. And I know you're correct, and I know I'm incorrect. I can't take it on faith. I have to understand myself.
Yeah.
So once again, in the meditative state,
Yes.
right? I can kind of sort of get past labels.
Yeah.
I can get past things being nice or not nice. I like or dislike. I can get past it. I can get past the label red or white, but and I could get to the point where things are very dreamlike. You know, the phrase, you know, like reflection in the mirror is like I understand what that's talking about, and you know, you get to the point where whether you're looking at the beautiful Tara statue or you know a rusty can of beer or a broken piece of glass, they're all just as beautiful, just as fascinating. It's almost like they have the. I'm not claiming to enter the state of one taste, but it's as if they have one taste, one nature, very light, very beautiful. And yet, there, you know, there is. I see the. Even though I see almost like the unity of the rusty beer can and the golden statue of the Buddha, there's still this recognition. This is the golden statue. This is the rusty can. So,
Who's recognizing it?
well, the scholastic answer would be awareness itself, right?
No.
No. Then
I think you're recognizing, yeah.
the non-scholastic answer, yeah. Me,
We don't need to generalize individuals, yeah.
So to progress further, basically get rid of the.
Maybe you can use I recognize,
Okay.
yeah.
So if I recognize the both the unity of things, but also the difference of things, right? Yesterday you mentioned that that is still conceptual, or did I misunderstand?
Do you use concept or not? Concept or not?
See, I don't think so. I think it's like a.
If you don't use concept, how you recognize things?
It just appears as it is.
That's called concept.
I don't understand.
No? If there is a dualistic perception, that's also called concept. Concept means mentally constructing something. You say you see beautiful in every kind of items, that's totally your preference, yeah. Beautiful is. There's no beautiful things in objects. The beautiful is totally individual's preference.
I guess I haven't explained myself properly.
Yeah.
It's difficult to talk about it, right? I'm not saying that things become beautiful like in a magical sort of way, you know, almost like they're beautiful in their ugliness, the ugly things, right?
See how many things we can add things on objects, and also yes, that is sometimes remind ourselves to rather than generally say awareness where things, but I see this is yellow, this is white, and so forth. Yeah, so that's easy way to recognize what we are doing.
But why would you do that? Isn't that reinforcing the self which we're trying to get rid of?
That's why I say don't reinforce, don't engage in. That's all this chanting is trying to say.
Right, but then why did you just like a second ago said, "Well, think that I am seeing that I'm not, I can connect the two."
Of course, that we always do that. That's why it's saying the text saying we should not do that.
But you just said we should, or did I mishear?
I say we should do.
When pointing to me, first you asked who is seeing the distinction between the white and the red, and I said, well, I could say awareness itself, and then you said no. You should think that
No,
I is seeing.
no. I
Okay, then I
didn't say
misunderstood.
you should. I say when we say there is flower, beautiful flower, who's seeing that? We can individualize that. Yeah, I see it. I'm saying we need to say that, acknowledge that I'm doing it. I didn't say we should do that as correct way of doing it. That's totally different.
Okay.
We need to acknowledge that who is doing it. And that's why if we don't acknowledge, then it's difficult to change, yeah. And that's why I'm saying we should acknowledge what we are doing. I have totally different preference than you would be. I like to eat certain things, you like to eat certain things, and you do certain things, and you see certain things that I don't see. But then we need to acknowledge that what my preference is, what your preference is, and then it's that our preferences are worth to keeping it or not. That's another idea. Probably not, but so this whole chanting is saying nothing would work until we stop engaging. Maybe we can come back to discuss now. It's 3:33, so which means we have 15-minute rest and replenish coffee, and more discussion are coming. So. 줄면 돼. 아, 그래. Okay, so we are really fortunate that we have nice center here to Rinpoche's vision and his I don't know what to say, his hard work that's happened this center. And since he come to Chicago, we have a lot of activities, Dharma activities, and a lot of benefit, a lot of people, and including me. So I often come and kindly invite me. So that's why I'm here and we are here. So thank you, Drapula. And then we are also today, this is the last session of our Saga Dawa practice and teaching. And of course, there's many more years, many more teachings will come, but this is our last session. And there is only half of the page we need to go through. Maybe we, end of this session, we chant the Kunzon Malam again. Yesterday we chant. No. And that's, I really enjoy here and hearing some my teachings or my practice here, and a little bit uncomfortable that Tripon Rinpoche is sitting here. So I sometimes it makes me a little bit nervous, but then somehow everyone has that kind of moment, so we need to deal with that. And yeah, that's good questions. And of course, your question didn't finish. Can you summarize and just make very short, if you can? And if not, then we can do maybe after the teaching or something.
Maybe we'll just do the teachings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that question also I think related how we are struggle with to disengage in things that we cherish too much. We cherish almost everything that what we see, but somehow seems we need to disengage if we can. Of course, it's not everyone's practice can copy from others, but individuals have different preferences, and so it's a little bit difficult to say anything that what individuals would have. And most of the teachings, the textbooks are in general teachings, so it doesn't necessarily specialize or individuals' appearance, individuals' experience maybe occur in a differently, and individuals may learn differently and practice differently and so forth. But we just trying. And now we are on page 15, the end enhance after the introduction. So enhance means now we have the preliminary practice that already Kundi Rushan, we with inner Kundi Rushan that's dealing with our deeper part of the us. We have these seed syllables or seeds of 6 rams that we can visualize as syllables to purify that. That, of course, we know that is very much effort for visualizing, swabbing, and all the purification and kind of emitting lights and burning seeds and so forth. Those are very active practice, effort for active practice. And then we try to understand our mind, where is our mind and what is our mind, and do we have a mind or not? And now we know there is no mind. And the mind, what we call is empty yet luminous, which means empty but can cognize things and can feel. That is what we call mind. If we don't have that part, then we cannot look at our mind, nature, and that part is what we are using. We are not conceptualizing there is subject-object duality mind, but while we are looking at our mind, we are looking by our mind nature, so that it's almost collapse every aspect except this non-dual awareness. So this non-dual awareness is while you are seeing your mind nature, you are not seeing in some objects or some subjects. It's become non-dual. That's why it's not producing any experience at the moment. Experience is what happened, sensational things and so forth. But this is a lack of that because it doesn't function as subject-object duality. So this meditation is involve a lot of perseverance to repetition again and again, and of course then we need kind of foundational understanding and solid understanding of all phenomena arise from Dharmakaya. This is nothing but Dharmakaya. And once we understanding that, we would have less preferences and less putting values on things that not necessarily have that kind of value. And then it's, say, liberate itself once we do that. When we go to sleep, then all the appearances, whether they are or not, it doesn't really engage to us. That's sort of the liberation occurring. And the same thing when we meditate, the moment we meditate, when we, with open eye, it's also, if we don't engage the objects doesn't really have any function to do anything to us. That's the famous phrase, Nangwei Menjing Xianbi Qing Xianba Chujing Naroba. So it's Dilaba was telling the Naropa that the appearances doesn't kind of grasping, or the appearances doesn't bind you, so or tie to you, but the grasping that ties you. So it's clear that the appearance itself has no function. It's similarly in a dream we have appearances, but it has no function because it's never existed at the first place. So that is almost whole entire this structure and the deeper foundational understanding and to recognition and gain confidence, and then the final liberation takes its own place. We are not changing anything. We are not try to gain new things, but we try to settle or rest in a nature. Once while we are doing that, sometimes of course we are, if we are humans, then we would have some sort of, after meditation, we would have some sort of concept or precepts will arise, and at the point then there's meditation is whether totally immerse into the non-conceptual level, or we also can practice meditation through concept. That's almost up until Dzogchen and the Mahamudra teachings, is almost every step of practice meditation involves concept. For example, when we meditate, in English even have this wonderful term that meditate on something. And so it's a kind of separate subject from objects. And in Tibetan, we don't need that, just meditating directly deity, but not on something. And then we can think about from very beginning for mind changing to meditate on emptiness or impermanent, and then we can bodhicitta or anything we can, objects that we can meditate on. And then here it comes to non-conceptual meditation. That's why it's subject-object dualities should be collapsed. And once we have that, but we need to stabilize that. We need to fully kind of develop a form of meditation that what we do. In order to do that, then sometimes some meditation that helps this non-conceptual meditation. That's why it's called enhance after the introduction. How we can enhance our meditation. To enhance your practice after the introduction in that way, at times meditate holding your breath together with the isolating the focus of your eyes. And usually in shamatha we have this meditation with referential objects, or with meditation without referential objects. So similarly here, we can do holding our breath to meditate on some statue or some Buddha image or some positive or beautiful images, or sometimes just relax and not focusing on particular objects. And doing these two options, that focusing on objects and and meditated without referential objects. And then after a while, you can do 10 at a times without focus, relax freely, without restraint. Ask the question, for both of these, is there any difference or not? Yesterday, we remember when we practice focusing inwardly and outwardly, so we can looking outwardly to the objects and then looking inwardly to our mind nature. So these two we can even practice that to see what's the difference between in these two. And again, meditate, ask if there is a differences, which is clear and which is not clear. So we can ask ourselves, and if when you meditate, it's you are more comfortable, more you think it's more relevant to see a referential objects or without a referential objects. So that is another way of doing it. In the end, recognize there is nothing good or bad to accept or reject. In the end, the training is we can do that, but in the end, we need to understand that both of these are still involved with the concept. In the end, recognize that there is nothing good or bad to accept or reject. Within awareness, without a fixate reference, there is clear emptiness, traceless and free from any limits of depth. An incomparable, single, self-sufficient independence arises. When you attain stability in that, you reach the mother ground of all. So then you can, if you choose non-referential object meditation, or if you see both of these concepts of meditation is it's not the final sort of ultimate meditation, and then you will see in the end, or finally you understand that there is a non-conceptual meditation. And that is called the inseparability of samsara and nirvana is not created through a cause. It is not destroyed through the condition. There is no three times. The unelaborated expanse of reality is uncontrived within a natural way of completely pure nature itself. It is without exertion. The natural state is nothing whatsoever. However, its radiance is not at all abstract in its perpetual continuity. And these samsara and the nirvana, inseparability of samsara and the nirvana, we sort of try to understand that what samsara means. Samsara means our mind, and the nirvana also means our mind. So it's in the Chunying Zhu, we have both samsara and nirvana are just the concept, and the concept means then our mind. So sometimes we choose samsara is good and nirvana, no, samsara is bad and nirvana is good, and so forth. But that kind of biased thinking is not the actual reality. It is not destroyed through condition. The conditions cannot destroy. There's no three times. This is important. That usually we, as people, would have a little bit difficult to say past and the present are not two different times. We have this idea of the past is the past, present is the moment, and the future is not yet come. But these three are just concept. And sometimes we have add a fourth time in Dzogchen tradition. If you really need a time, then if that fourth time is available in the Dzogchen tradition. But I don't think that really helps that much because there's debate of that. I think I heard one Gelugpa was saying that, accusing Nyingmapas that if you don't have three times, how could you have fourth time? Yeah, we learned that from Gelugpa, so we don't really much assert that we have fourth time. So it's fourth time is another trap we can go into. If you want to tell a story, it's useful because before samsara and nirvana, this Dzogchen ground exists beyond or before samsara and nirvana. Then better to say fourth time because it's not really in the past. Because it's before samsara and nirvana. But beyond this concept intellectual, then the fourth time is not really necessary to think about when we're telling the story. It's good to have it. Then this nature of the mind, or rikpa, recognition of that is the unelaborated expanse of reality is uncontrived within the nature of way of the complete pure nature itself. So do you remember when we did three strikes or phrases that used? The second one is we need to gain confidence in this level, to say our mind's nature is the pure nature itself. It is without assertion. The nature state is nothing whatsoever. However, its radiance is not at all abstracted in a perpetual continuity. So this is a radiant, or what sometimes we call the Dang, and the Dang, of course, is light or luminous that we can only use because we can feel that our mind, there's no mind, but it's at the same time we have no doubt that I'm doing something, I see something, I feel something, and that is part of the sometimes luminous or sometimes light, whatever we call, that is in there. We only can call that, but if you have other terms that want to call, that's just fine, and it's only label, so it doesn't really touch to the actual objects. That's what we know, because term and object has no relationship at all. Never. Because if they have this relationship, then when we say fire, something would come from here. Fire need to come from mouth. It doesn't. And if you don't speak English languages, nobody really know what you are talking about. Like birds are chirping and dogs are barking. We don't really know what they're saying. So similar thing. And that is called the realization. So the realization is very important in the Dzogchen tradition, because understandings only matter. The rest of things are just more baggage that we can put on, but others really doesn't make any differences. It is called familiarization because the meditation is only we call familiarization. It is called the perfection. It is called the liberation, or what we call liberation is not really taking something, changing or transformational or create something, but liberation is once we unfabricated, that itself is liberation. You should never stray from this understanding of the non-meditation of self-liberated inner clinging at all times. So we need to understand that the Chikchu practice itself liberates everything, not only the objects but subjects and between. This is the ultimate ground of cutting through, or Chikchu, introduction to the outer appearances of mind, introduction to the self-liberation of inner clinging, and the introduction to the secret non-duality of outer and inner. Through these, knowing that one thing liberates all. This is the teaching of the ground of the great perfection of how samsara and nirvana are completely within our mind. So these all, you can see how important these are. So these, I think we need to somehow stop here. This next step of practice is called Tugar. Tugar is, there's many translations. None of them is maybe good, but somehow some people say jumping over. You don't do that either, and lipping over or something, but and then direct transcend and so forth. So really, you can figure out what does that mean. That's at least better to know the term Tibetan Chikyu and Togar. These two are main practice of the Dzogchen practice. Both has preliminary practice, and we saw the preliminary practice for Chikyu in the Tinkundi Rushan, separating in samsara and nirvana and so forth. And then we have Togar practice, which involves with postures, mainly the postures and the gazings. The three postures, Dharmakaya gazing like a lion, Sambhogakaya gazing like an elephant, and Nirmanakaya gazing like rishi or a yogi practice. And then the gazings, lion gazings outward, and elephant gazings sort of straight on. And then Nirmanakaya gazing is downward, as that's also kind of introduce people with really agitated mind. Sometimes looking downwardly is better. And if people are mind is sort of sinking and you want to energize your mind a little bit, gazing outward, and then if your mind is quite stable, then maybe look straight. So those are necessary. You can see in a Tukyu practice, cutting through practice doesn't have much. The actual practice, even you can do lie down or sit up or stand up, but the most important part is you are not fabricating or you are not engaging any activities that maybe sometimes we think necessary to good things to do, visualize and mantra recitation and so forth. So these are those important parts I want to say, and I think more or less that's what I can say in here. Maybe we can do practice together again, and then maybe people have a question a little bit, and then after that we will chant the Gunda Sangpo prayer, and then we conclude our sessions and see you again and again. Dada mege yordano aye chenu no ju ngo podam ji ge no yong dam je me ben on lai jo sun zin da ba zar ton lai ge do jang ron dur ji la ma la so an de or je be ma ju ne la so an de Dedaranavi yorda tabayi nyandame nyanzimbidanang Chadonsam no darvinolaisho Chadon jenga meba jarve son Chadon jarve son lazoande Urjembe ma yune lazorwande Dedraye je yordan joaye nyumutan e toba je sharyan Musa je jo lai jo me sho Joaran sa shabe jo Tarik paran dorje la mala zorwande Orjembe manjune la zorwande Chedar song we your non taba dan non dan zumbe simni chova tan Arto sarang o shibaro Tezamde ye namje do ye dan de ronju chova shinji lo Dan de ronju chova shinji lo
Do this toward all you see, outside, inside, environment and beings, all things, while seeing them without grasping remain. This freedom from the trap of duality, subject-object clinging, is the very form of the deity, luminous and empty. To this Lama, the very self-liberation of desire and attachment, we pray. To lotus-born Guru of Organ, we pray. Do this toward all that you hear, all sounds grasped as sweet or harsh, whilst hearing them, empty, without afterthought, remain. This empty sound, with no beginning and no end, is the speech of the victorious ones. To this empty sound, the speech of all the Buddhas, we pray. To the lotus-born Guru of Organ, we pray. Do this toward all that stirs in the mind. Whatever thoughts and emotions of the five poisons arise, Don't invite them, don't chase after them, don't let mind fabricate or contrive. Simply allowing them to settle in the face of their own arising is liberation into the Dharmakaya. To this Lama, Rigpa's self-liberation we pray. To Lotus-born Guru of Organ we pray. So outwardly, purify appearances of their allure. Inwardly, free the mind from grasping. And in between, by the self-recognition of clear light, may the compassion of all the Sugatas of past, present, and future inspire and bless beings like us with self-liberation.
Okay. So there is few texts that you can look at or chant to see, because this meditation sometimes is not easy to maintain, because we some sort of need sometimes in Tibetans say Rikpi ngar tang jeba. So ngar is usually it's intensified kind of vividness, and not just kind of a dull, sinking feeling, but have to have sharp, vibrant mind. So that one thing we need to think about, and sometimes we fall into this kind of non-dual, but it's in a deep down, it's like a kind of neutral zone where it's more kind of deep shamatha away, and there's no sort of recognition is going on, and we need to remind us to, it's not just sitting and thinking nothing to passing time, but it also have to recognize constantly in our mind. Of course, we're still young and we can learn step by step and practice many years will coming. But it's I'm saying just sometimes people sit and thinking and comfortable and passing time and still think, because not constantly engaging thoughts, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's recognition is going on. So this is sort of very much what I can say. If you want to say something else while we have a little bit time here, let me know. And unless, then we can maybe chant the Kundasamba prayer. Any questions in there? Lost. 不也有哎？愿你不也来？愿你不也来？
So we have 3 questions on Zoom.
Okay, yes, please.
First, is entering into bliss the same thing as entering into non-conceptual mind?
Entering into Buddhism?
Bliss.
Oh, bliss. Oh. Yeah, bliss is the final. We have these 4 emptiness part with these 4 aspect or 4 entities that we call. First we have non-tone, emptiness, and appearances, which usually can gain through sutras when we practice, because Madhyamaka talks about union of emptiness and appearances. And then we and then emptiness and bliss, union of that, when most of the time we talk about in tantric practices. And then we have or even we can, before that, we have this emptiness and clarity or luminous that we can talk about and in Buddha nature and so forth. And then the final 4th one is called emptiness awareness. So that is supposed meant to be early. You can see there's sort of, if we can think, it's not exactly the same, but it's a little bit different. And another one?
What's that sign that recognition is occurring?
They should not have sign. No experience, no sign. That's difficult part because then we don't really know what's going on. Okay, yes, next one.
Could you please clarify outwardly purity appearances of their allure? Does that mean do not get stuck in their allure? Do not pay heed to their allure or their looks? From this prayer.
Yesterday we went through a little bit this. The translation itself is, I think, it's maybe, I don't know. It's a, I would say the grasped objects, which is appearances, are pure because the purified is, yesterday we talked about, is more transfer. We are not changing. It's already pure. And that is the outer phenomena, are already pure. And then the second one is inwardly free the mind from grasping. Yeah, it's another one. It's not like that. It's the grasping mind, which is also liberated. I mean, liberate, we already know now. Now know that means is mind's function is gone. It's not grasping anymore. And that is the inner or internal thing. And then the between, or if we don't find external things are liberated and internal things are liberated, then what's really going on? But we need, somehow we need to recognize things, and recognize not occurring externally, not occurring internally, but somewhere maybe can occur, but not really occurring because it's not really objects going on. And by the self-recognition of the clear light, that's just another interesting thing. It says, may I recognize these self-luminous in between. Not necessarily in between talking about, but is sometimes language. It's once we know liberate out externally and internally liberated, then recognition maybe occur in between. So that's giving a choice, not necessarily that. You have more?
Two more popped up.
Okay.
They're very similar, but there's like differences. So the first question, how do we know if we are meditating correctly? Is there danger in thinking we recognize when we don't?
Yeah. That is depend on one's own karma, and usually great perfections should not teach by person like me without any realization. And students also should be have fully dedicated and also a ripened person. So if the requirement is needs the teacher is very realized guy or girl, and then students are also really devoted and ripened karma. Maybe happened that was saying there is some stories that when some Greek lamas in Tibet couldn't get this point, this recognition. And then somehow finally some sound triggers that then suddenly recognize from barking a dog from far away from village. So it's, you never know when you realize and how you realize that. That's why it's the beauty of the things. Lama cannot just give, and student just cannot take. So it's a more, much more deeper, interrelated thing. Yes.
So the second one, how can one be certain that we're recognizing the nature of mind so that we can I'm sorry, I'm gonna start over. How can one be certain that we're recognizing the nature of mind so that we can sustain in the Rigpa?
Exactly. That's for me, Garchen Rinpoche point out a few times that there's a few aspiration prayers that are very helpful for individuals. One is Jingmi Lingba's Niluk Dorji Tsikung, that Vaja verses. And another one is Mipam Rinpoche's Jambar Dzogpa Chembu Molam, that is another verse. And then my own understanding, maybe third Karma Rangjung Dorji's Mahamudra aspiration prayers. And and then these, I mean, these are really profound teachings, and also these, through these, then one needs to develop confidence, and also maybe these aspiration prayers are very important because it's saying keep asking to help from Buddhas and other teachings, and if we have that devotion and trust, then maybe it's happened. Okay? Maybe we are going to change Tibetan and then English. Meda. 어떤 요소만 Really? 보기 성향. Okay, today we are reading in Tibetan, so you can just read. Do it. If you have computer, fortunately we have this in lots of house, but yeah.
I have the video.
Many people don't have computer, I think. Maybe cell phone is also. Yeah. 지금은 지금 같은 게 TV 좀 거예요. 지도 들어가야 돼. 아이패드. 보여주고 있잖아. 알지라요, 저래. 대학 건선 동시만. 민도. 오, 나생 건데 단지근 세제란인데니 레다마르 전조데 근도 선보모만 단지 주연 보람도 몸바라도 된 손자쇼 근지시는 도마시 롱용 주든 Kunde nyinge meme do tenyere na sanje de mare simjen gurwan jan kamson simjen tamje Jame jedon reba sho kendo sombo nga ye jong Jujen me ba shi don tenye jile ranjong re Chenon dogo joma ta teme membe te mato Teje rono joma go ron re sola neba Isum je jang on ra me do yong ala chapa me Tome sheba ron yong la do be so dan tuma Ribe zar cha manga be mo je la yi shi nga yi shi nga wo min pa le tome sang ji re nga Tele yi shin da je be sang ji shi shi zang ni yong yi shi nga ye za shi we chang tong zhu ju tang bang Te je shi ren cho ma nyong tong me sang ji nga yin be nga ye ma lam da ba ye kam song kru we sum chen Nyong re ba ngo she ne yi she chen bon ta je sho nga ye zhu wa jin men je she wa ta ja sang yin Kong la kong dur na so je nga ye tu ji mon lan ji kam song kru we sum chen gun re zhu ne ne tang ba Tambo simjen zhuwa nang shila rupa ma sha we Jinyong jime tme wa daga ma rin chu we Tala ye jawa le nang tra shi pa sa se je Te li dang yen zhan zin je hua jia ren jin te pa Kurwa lo sun jung wan jo te le nyong mo tang a je Tengme le la jun ji me ten je sem jen zhu wei Tengme ma re yen be je san je nga ye mon lang ji Gun je re ba rang xi shou lan je je be ma re Xie ba tengme yin gan de da be ma re ba Dang yan ni sun zhen ba yin lan je gun ta ma re Sim jian gen jian zhu ye yin sang jie nga ye mo lang ji Kuru we sim jian tang jie jie te me te be men pa Nim zhen zhen be xie ba dang ri ba rong o xie ba xiu Nin zi lo ne te zong de xian ba chan mo jie ba Hua jian tu bo ren jie de se no ro ku dang ne dong chou Du yong a dang xian bi nian yi wang jia bin du bi Te dan ji den zhu ba de song zin le la sin da mi Xian bin zhi wen men bei zai kam jia dong wei ye da Yin de zhi gan ya ren a song ji nga yi mo lam ji Du jia xian bei sen jin nan du bi dong wa qir ma Do jai xian ba cor ma lang xie ba rong su lu ba ye Ri ba rong su sin ju ne gun do yi xie to ba ra Qi ru yu ji na wa lan ji zha xie ban cha mu ji Dang wei fa jia de ba le zhan zi de su cha ba Xie dan zhi wu men be zhe nyar wa zu si do ren a Sang ji nga ye mo lam ji zhou zhou sim jian tang ji Xie dan zha bo ji be zhe pong lo me ya rang zu lu Ri ba rang zu sin ju ne zar wei yi xie to ba Rang san king wa ra chu wa le xian lang zhen sen men be lo Ma jia ra cha bo san ji be tang yin ta zu dong ma ra Le din ji wa men be zhen po dong nyong e la ru ji Sang ji nga ye mo lam ji king san ji be sim jian Se she ba rang zo lo ri ba rang so sen ju ne nyam ba ni je den lo sho nin zi de be pa ja da do ye mo zang le tam zo de zen de ba le zo jo la me ne zo je de ro nyar we ne so Sanje ngaye malangi drensen tazu jibana Tanzi meya ranzo lu shepa ranzo senjun Tenle tome yishe sho Teme tangyong yingwa tang Tepzang modang jiba tang Jardan telo temur Deva jame jorzon jan Sanje ngaye malangi Tenmo xingwi mba la tenpa zarvin danshar Ye ye dawa shong kamson senjen tamji kyung Kun ye sanje ngada nyang Chemin tuvi shiros Tada tame le la la jo le jo malan chorwanda Kanda sumbu no joy tuvi ndurvich Zamba malanje sanjen tamje maluba Chuje yin son son ja jo Chinje nangyo do chinje Chume riba ranzane Malam do chen da de do sanjen tamje Dawa somne ngazan je nyanda sai simbam Tradan sayo jungwa nyama dojo lompu Rani kunda sambura ji kunje todan de juna Kamsan senje tamje jan nanjo te molan Tunaremji tune jan nyordo sanje toba shon. Sachi kos kodma.
For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyatso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. Embodiment of the three precious jewels, Padmapani, who holds the teachings of the victorious one, seeing the all-goodness meaning with the wisdom eye. May you who are spontaneously establish activities live long for hundreds of kalpas. Noble Manjushri, the Lord of Speech, who manifests to hold the teachings of the Triple Gem, who raises the lamp of the sage's teachings, may you who are the light of the Dharma live long for hundreds of kalpas. The one known in the Holy Land as Aryadeva, emanated in the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Churingpa, the hard son of Jigten Sungun. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 aeons. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-aware absolute reality and shine with the 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma, may you, Kanchen Ratna Dwaza, live long. In English? Page 15. Dorje Chang, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Gampopa, Pamodrupa, and Lord Jikumpa. Please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of all the Kadyu Lamas. By this virtue may I achieve omniscience, by defeating all enemies, confusion, May all who travel on the waves, birth, old age, sickness, and death, cross the ocean of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, what is unborn may it arise. What is born may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri, the warrior, realized the ultimate state, and as did Samantabhadra, I will follow in the path and fully dedicate all merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. Oh, good. By the virtues. Okay. Page 16. By the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Jikumpa Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Glorious, holy,
So, everyone, Tujike, and see you next time, and online and in here. Everyone, thank you.
Gracias, Lama.
Gracias.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
바닥도 있어요. 지치, thank you. Thank you so much.这里들어가면 돼, beja 라면서. 한번 라면 돼. Do you know Turkish means?
No.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Turkish means thank you.
가진치.
가든시에요.
Thank you so much.
도바도 안 해. Oh, you keep giving me.
Thank you for this is for the teachings. Thank you for
Thank you very much for coming. Keep coming.
this. Well,
Oh, thank you. Usually I touch, but the eyeglasses.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back again and again and again. Here, with this. Yes, two.
And as always, thank you for dealing with my crazy questions. But I'm not talking just to talk. I really want to know.
We all need to talk.
Because I don't want to be wrong, and I'd rather be asked 100 times and be like, oh no, you have it wrong, than continue holding a lie. So
They're wrong.
always, I'm used to it.
Chichi, thank you. Thank you, Nicole, and see you on Saturday. Yeah. When are you leaving?
I'm leaving tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Oh, yeah. Thank you to JJ.
Mullah here.
Yeah. Okay. That's, I think.
Thank you so much, Kempola. Please come back again and again. The teachings were so very wonderful. And we had several people asking for the lung. So if there's any way you can record it, I can send it to them in an email, since I don't think we had time today. Yeah, but thank you so much, Kempo Yeshi. Beautiful teachings, and we all want to hear more and more and again. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and everyone online. And, I'm sure there's many people know me for a long time, and I cannot see your face now, but I feel that you are there. So thank you for supporting nonsense talks, but sometimes, of course, need to nonsense. And thank you so much for yelling myself.
I could hear.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth, and others. I'm sure there's a few more, many already know me many years and listen my nonsense things for 100 times. So anyway, thank you for supporting this teaching and practicing together. That's wonderful. And hope you are doing well and see you online or in person soon, maybe. So if you have time, I'm going to teach 4 days in Florida in July. So if you have time, maybe just try to listen, even part of it. Maybe I have something to say, maybe. Yes, on Zoom.
And it's 4th of July long weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate it. Okay. Especially Anila here. I always kind of ask, bring this and that. So, but Anila never kind of rejects that requirement. So, and very kindly invite me. Already know I have nothing to say, but it's sometimes somebody needs to say something. Yes, that's the part. Okay. Anyway, if you have time, maybe stay until dinner. If you don't have time, then see you next time. Okay. Bye.